Good evening, my name is Corey Duncan, and today I will be discussing how our church safety and security team has changed over time. I took a group of students this past year, a group of students and adults this past year to Maryville, Illinois, and we stayed at the church where a shooting had happened here about 11 years ago. And figure out kind of what happened over the period of time was something that was really cool, really interesting to see how everything unfolded. My purpose for this speech is to inform my audience on how church security has changed over time. I've done the research, and I've also helped with our church security team here at Hebron First Baptist. And this is important for you because you must be aware of your surroundings, even everywhere, even the places that you think that you're the most safest. We as a church have come from not having security to needing it every time the doors are open. That's something that is so true. You know, you used to be able to walk into a church and doors will be open, or you used to be able to, everybody could sit in the service and not have to worry about security, and now, you know, security must be present every time. But let's look at what a church security team define, or what they must be a part of to be a part of it. The job description of church security, the support of it is to list requirements for the job and the event. So their job is to make sure that everybody's safe at all times during the time of the event, anytime during the service. And that means that they're willing to sacrifice their personal time to be with their family, and to also to be outside the service to make sure everybody's feeling safe. The requirements for the church security safety team takes place, you know, that you have to go through a training every year. They want you to they want the training to be fresh on your mind, so that way you can know of new things that might possibly happen, or new ways that we can prevent these things. And also the scheduling of security, it really depends on when and how big your congregation is. If your congregation is a small church or is a small event, then obviously you don't need as many people. But if it's a small congregation, then more people are going to be doing it every week. If it's a bigger church, then you have more people that will serve, and so that gives more people time to be able to help each other. The second thing is let's look at how it's changed over time. The churches now partner with local law enforcement. And I like to think that we've always partnered with local law enforcement, but now it's to the point that we want local law enforcement to be in our services. I know at Hebron First Baptist, we have local law enforcement that is here with us every single Sunday, that is here in the back of the service, making sure everything's going good. Churches are now locked up every single week. You know, our services, our offices are always open from 8 to 4. But for a person to walk through the front doors, they have to be buzzed in, and we make sure that the place is safe. So that way, that if something was to happen, or during a service, or during a time during the office week, we make sure that everybody's feeling safe at that time. Tom Rainer says this, that more guests are asking about church security. That comes from the website, the new title for that website, the new normal for church security. The problem is that people are no longer going to the website to listen to messages, or going to look for kids ministry or a student ministry, or what the ministries are involved in the church. They want to know what the church security team is, if there is one at the church, and who they are and what they can expect when they come there. They want to make sure they're feeling the safest. And as I said before, the church used to be the most safest place on this earth. You know, you never thought that anything bad would happen, but now it feels like church is in one of the most targeted places here on this earth. And finally, let's discuss the challenges of making people feel safe in a place that was always safe and now is kind of a scary place. And I think one of the first thing is we have to be aware of our surroundings at all times, and that comes from the Mutual Insurance Company, Easy Ways to Create a Safer Sunday. And that, you know, it's so important to know where your surroundings are at all times. That you don't just get caught up and you're thinking of and focusing on something else, that you forget where you're at or what's going on or what could possibly happen. We only allow certain workers to work in the kids ministry. It's not, you don't just allow everybody. If a person has a felony or a past background, you don't want them to obviously be working with your kids. And so it's important that we allow certain people to work that are qualified to work with kids. And then also knowing that anything can happen at all times. You know, like I said, the church is one of the most safest places, but now we know that anything can happen from the 20-something shootings that happened over the past 20 to 30 years. And so anything can happen at any time. Today I discussed what church security is and the description of it, and what the person does, and how the church security has changed over the years with people looking for the security page on the website before the message. And finally, the challenge of making people feel safe in what should be one of the safest places on earth. As I said once before, church security has changed so much over time that we have come from not having it to needing it every time the doors are open. As I mentioned earlier, that I had led a group of students / adults to the church that 11 years ago was in one of the worst possible situations of church shooting. Now, when you or a friend is considering trying out a new church, you can look for a security team and find information on that team. Thank you.